In this episode of Man vs. Marriage, figuring out this monstrosity called Quncy. All the answers are in the prize box of the Cracker Jacks.
The podcast. How good do you want your life to be?
You gotta live on purpose, for a purpose.
It's truly about becoming the best version of yourself that's possible. This is Man vs. Marriage, the podcast.
And welcome to another episode of Man vs. Marriage. It is I, Quncy Moran, and
Coach Rita
in the house. All right, so we started talking off mic, and I stopped talking off mic so we could get on mic and talk about it, and we could figure it out. Coach Rita, what did you say? Tell everybody what you said.
What I just said to you?
No. Before that started this particular part of the conversation.
I don't remember what I just said.
You said, "You're not helping me."
Oh, when we went off there. Quincy, you're not helping me if we're doing live coaching. You're not helping me dig deeper in the questions that I'm asking, because it's almost like you have the answers in your mind of how to answer it, but you're not really letting your heart answer it. And I'm trying to dig in deeper. And like I said, I don't know if it's because not to be vulnerable, not to be too vulnerable, or I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what it is.
Say it ugly. It's okay if you say it ugly.
The block of what it is. Is it giving the right answers because you don't want to look bad? Is it you just processing what it is that's being said to you in the moment, so it's going to take you a minute, which I totally understand.
Okay.
I totally get that. It's just trying to figure out, are you really letting your heart say what it wants to say, or are you careful to say what it's really feeling? Like you feel like, if I'm really honest, what are people going to think?
Okay. Well, I can't point to anything that I've held back. I'm really searching myself for these answers here,
Mm-hmm.
to figure out what it is, and maybe I don't usually have this particular look in my eyes that I can imagine, because I'm looking. I'm really trying to give answers for what I mean, because I have, one of the things about me that I kind of put out there when we started doing the marriage coaching, is that, I do want to say what's right. But that's not what I'm trying to do here.
Okay.
I'm trying hard to work through, because that's a deep question. Why did you, one of the questions, why did you take action?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, well, why did I do it? And it wasn't anything rehearsed or that I had,
Right.
pre-written out, because I didn't know what the question was going to be necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
But when, maybe I'm just a freak. I don't know. I started looking into, well, why did you do this? And the first thing that came to me was because people's time is really valuable.
Right.
Because you do think there's so many people around that they just take good information and walk away, and they don't do it. So for me, I'm thinking, well, why the crap did I do? Why did I go for it?
What was the defining moment in our last coaching sessions that made you decide I need to take action? And it is as simple as what you said. Time, like they say, time is of the essence. It could be that you don't want to waste people's time.
Does that make me sound like shallow or computer? Does it make me sound mechanical?
That's what I'm just trying to find out. Are you just giving the right answer?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not. And
Okay.
I want to get to the heart of the matter, but that's what that's me.
Right.
I got to live by who I say I am.
Right.
That's
I think that's huge, and I think that's important.
that is the true. I'll give you an example. With my carnivore coach, he's telling me log everything,
Uh-huh.
send it to me. Okay, I'm gonna do that. And I forgot to put just something as simple as 4 tablespoons of half and half on there.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, well, who the crap's going to care? It's 4 tablespoons of half and half. I've already sent the picture or whatever it is. I don't need to. But in my crazy mind, it goes, but that's not what you said you were going to do. It's easy not to do it. But it's actually pretty easy to do this. So have your freaking integrity, dude. And do what's right.
Right.
And so I decided to do it. And, maybe there is a deeper level to me that I need to discover, but what I say, I freaking mean it, all the way.
Right.
So I want to help you, and maybe this is a place where, you and I kind of forge a deeper bond here. Because I'm not trying to be surface. If I am, or you think I am, I give you permission. You just call me out. But I'm really searching myself for these answers to make sure that I'm giving the honest answer.
Right.
And
because you're going to be the only one that benefits from it, not me.
yeah,
Because you're hearing yourself speak. You hear what you're telling yourself. So I'm just trying to make sure that you are being honest with yourself, because I
Sure.
think that's the most important thing. It's not, because you only know you. You're the only one that's in your head day in and day out. I'm not. I don't know how to do that, but well, yeah, I do. Just listen to you long enough, and you're a revealer of you.
yeah,
If you can listen to what people are saying, you'll catch on really, really quick. So it's just a question of for you to be true to you. And if you're saying that you are, then hey, okay, then it is what it is.
Well, you're piquing my curiosity, because I'm searching for these answers as deep as I can go to figure out
The essence of you.
what it is and what it, because it did kind of take me by surprise. I didn't go back to think, why am I going to do this? I kind of already decided that a long time ago. So I didn't use any of my mental resources to say, what's this worth?
Right.
I heard failure, asking for help is failure. And it was yuck. It was gross. And the way I start processing that is, what child of yours would you ever say this to, Quincy? If they came and asked you for help, would you say you're a failure? No. Any of your friends come and ask you for help, would you say you're a freaking failure?
Right.
No. Anybody at work, if they were to come to you and say, I need help, would you think of them as a failure? No. So why does it make sense for you to hold yourself to that? Why? So that was me just trying to process my way through that, to say, that's not what I don't believe that, but I'm living that. So why?
Isn't that interesting that you would give everybody else the okay, but not give yourself permission?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's, if you just look at my life and how I grew up, like as far as religion goes, okay? I grew up in the Church of God in the most influential time in my life, I guess, when it comes to it, like 13. And it was just browbeating, about sin, about sin, about sin. You know, so here I moved to the West Coast, and it's not Church of God, it's like Assembly of God, and I get put in the position of a youth leader. And had all kinds of grace for people, and they make mistakes or, you know, leniency, just all kinds of it. But I could never, ever have that for myself. It's like, if you fail, I'm going to beat you into the ground if you fail. This is me talking to me. It's like I would just,
Relentless on that.
there's that word again. I would just continue to, I don't want to say humiliate, but just mentally abuse myself over failures,
Right.
over one quote unquote sin, if you will. But I could look at other people and say, no, God loves you. It's a mistake. It's, you know,
Right.
hey, just get up and let's keep going. I didn't have that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when I say, when I heard the word failure,
Does it take you all the way back?
I couldn't go any farther back than the guy that I worked
Oh,
for,
right.
you know?
Right.
That was the thing that sprung up in me. Did it have something to do with, you know, parents getting divorced at 5? I'm sure that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have something to do with, you know, living in California and thinking that Alabama's right and moving to Alabama and thinking that California's right, and, you know, and where I wanted to connect and who I wanted to live up to and
Mhm.
all that stuff? Possibly. I don't know how to go any deeper than that. I mean, you know, we talked about in one of those episodes of, you know, my dad, God love him, he is just as meek and sweet as he could be. He was a mean cuss back in the day, you know, and I told you the story about putting my arm around him when I was 10 and, you know, like, hey, Dad, I love you. And he looked at me like and said, get your hands off me. I'm not one of your stupid friends at school. And I was like, ugh. I'm sure that made an impression. That's not who he is now. But
But that's what you lived with then when you were impressionable.
yeah, that's what I lived with then. I feel like I worked, you know, through that. Maybe I'm living too much in the now. But I'm working hard to give you authentic answers.
And I think you are. I
Okay.
do.
Okay.
I really do think you are. I just think it's just me trying to help the listener,
Sure.
you know, to get a perspective of if this is something that I have asked a question, food for thought, and then you turn around within the next week and you've already taken action to what was posed to you and you're walking that out. Most people don't do that.
Yeah.
So it's like an opportunity to be able to help the listeners figure out how the heck do you go about doing this? Because most of us do feel like we're failures. Most of us try something, usually half-heartedly, and it doesn't come out the way that, you know, we expect it to, and then we just label ourselves as failures.
Oh, okay.
You know, so it's really just trying to give the listeners something that they could grab onto to say, okay, I think I can do that. That I can do.
Okay.
Because there's not many people that can respond that quickly to something that was said. Like that obviously had an impression on you that failure was a big thing. And by you responding to that the way that you have, that's putting action towards it. And I'm sure your mindset or the way your thought process is starting to change on how you see that now. All in the simple thing is just reaching out and asking for help. I say it's simple, but I'm sure it was very difficult for you. I don't know if did you have a pit in your stomach trying to, like you said, it was embarrassing for the keto guy. What about the guy that you reached out, who's in the same position as you, the same, not circumstances, but holds the same position? How was that? Reaching out to that person and saying, hey, like, hey, you want to be my friend?
Want to be my buddy?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, what's going through your mind to help you overcome all those insecurities, all the thought of failure? Because that's where you were a couple weeks ago, and now all of a sudden, do you understand what I'm saying?
I think so. I think I understand what you're saying. It kind of sounds like, who does that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. Who does that? And what motivates you to do that? I mean, I know you shared the last episode. The motivations behind it is your commitment, your standard, your value of time, your value of people, the value of yourself. All those are definitely, things that are motivating you. Most definitely, those are the things that are motivating you.
Yeah.
So what is your thought process in stepping out and putting action to those things? Like, you just don't even think about it. I'm just going to do it. Whatever it's going to be, and I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to talk myself out of it.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that happened was you made me aware of something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, ugh. Once I don't know. I just don't. I don't want to sound rehearsed, but Rita, it's just kind of how I built my life. I decided that I was going to have a brand new life philosophy, and I would define who I am, and things that are contrary to what I define, I made a decision that I was not going to allow those to operate in my life anymore.
So you made the decision.
I did.
It's like you made a heart-to-heart decision, a heart-to-heart talk with yourself and said, this is what I'm living by. And anything other than that cannot be a part of my life.
Yeah.
It's an absolute.
It's an absolute non-negotiable for me anymore. And obviously, we all have blind spots. That's why we need great people like you to speak into our life and say, hey, what about this? And so when I decided, I really thoroughly just decided I have got to get a new philosophy for my life. And I put a lot of thought and time and effort into defining the person that I wanted to be. I wasn't him then. But I said down the road, this is the guy I want to be. And I did take that funeral exercise seriously and say, what do I want people to say about me? And then work it backwards. And I just took it serious. And I said, here's the gatekeeper for who I'm going to be. And if anything comes to challenge it, it doesn't pass, because this is a new way I'm going to think. I'm gonna do it. And I just started talking to myself about this philosophy of who I decided I wanted to be.
Right.
If that makes me sound like I'm weird or I'm not relatable, I can't help it, because that's who I decided I wanted to be. And
Right.
when the Holy Spirit told me, Quncy, awareness is a weapon. Use it. Use it for good in your life. If you don't, it becomes a negative in your life, because you don't do anything.
Right.
So I said, you know what? And I'm a person, just to get to the depth of who I am, I just relate things. I relate it. And I think if I can relate a situation or information to an area in my life where I've been successful, I'm just gullible enough to believe I can be successful in this area.
Right.
So I'll take it and I'll relate it to, look, I was able to do this. And it was with information that I didn't have. Or stop, it was with perspective I did not have. But now I have that perspective. And I've shown myself that I have the ability to accomplish this in this area.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take it and I'm going to use it. And the more you exercise those muscles, or the more you put those things into play,
Right.
the more swift the action becomes. I can't say that I was great at this in the beginning, but it's been 10 years.
In the making.
It's been 10 years
Right.
in the making here. So for you to give me such a big aha moment, and for me to say, oh my, I cannot freaking believe this is the word that comes up when it's about asking for help.
Right. So. Since we last talked in our previous episodes, recording episodes, how is work different for you? How is family different for you? Because really, that's where this pull up a chair, Quincy, and let's just have a little discussion on where life is at for you now. So we're talking, how many weeks ago did we record? Almost a month ago?
Yeah.
So
probably.
a month ago,
Yeah.
in you pulling up a chair and recording our episodes to today, what can you say has changed? What takeaways today? What's different today? Topic was your work and family.
Work and family. That was the two things, right?
Two things.
Number one was no boundaries with work,
Mm-hmm.
and number two was my inner attitude towards my family. That was in one of those episodes,
Right.
I think that was in the 39 or the 38 takeaway. So I mean, the first thing that I point to that we've already talked about is me being vulnerable enough to reach out for help.
Right.
That's the number one thing that's different. So what I think you're asking me, what does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
That looks like me sharing my insecurities on some of these issues, like even with my carnivore coach.
Right.
That looks like me not understanding or not having the capacity at work to be able to accomplish or respond in a way I want to. So I reach out to my colleague and say, hey, man, what do you think here? I don't know the answer. I need help.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, being moldable and coachable by you and saying to my boss, here's what I'm worried about. Here's what I'm concerned about. It's answering the phone and being glad that I'm talking to him, but saying, here's who I want to be, but here's what's really going on right now.
Right.
And I need some help. Here's what I'm really concerned about. I wouldn't do that before.
Mm-hmm.
I would not bare my soul because I didn't want to worry him.
Right.
But now, I can go to a text and read it to you and say, I'm really worried about this. And that's a big deal for me because I don't like to be the worrying kind of person or make other people worry. At home, before the natural disaster, boundaries are starting to get kept more. But also, I'm putting out there to Jeannie that I'm worried. I'm just making myself more vulnerable and asking for help.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a situation going on, and Jeannie like took my role and started telling me, this is who you are, don't forget about who you are. And it's like, I didn't try to rationalize that stuff away. I just let it all go in.
Mm-hmm.
I let everything she said about me go in and start to become a part of me, and not say, oh, well, you don't really understand, honey. It's like, no. And I even told her, I'm receiving these words that you're giving me.
Right.
I'll take them all. I'll take them all. So it is being more vulnerable and kind of bearing my soul or my insecurities or my weaknesses to my wife, to my colleagues, and then coming and sitting in front of you and saying, this is me.
Right.
This is what I've heard. This is who I want to be, and I'm conflicted.
Mm-hmm.
I want to redefine this path for my
Right.
life, and, my family is getting the rest of me while work
Right.
gets the best of me, and that hasn't been enough time to really.
And who would have thought, the what just transpired over the last, week of the, what do you call it? The natural disaster.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Who would have known? So, how does that make you feel? How are you dealing with the emotions of bearing your soul, as you say? Voicing the insecurities, voicing I need help, voicing, I'm worried. What's going on inside of you in those moments that you're having to reach out, like literally texting or picking up a phone or, having a face-to-face with your wife? How is that helping you? How is that benefiting you? Where are you seeing this is a beneficial to who I am, and this is growing me? Or are you still not certain yet? Is it still hard?
It's hard every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard every time I do it, but it's just a decision you make in the moment.
Right. What's the response on the other side?
It's mostly been positive until the bacon. It's all been positive, with my boss.
Mm-hmm.
I just
So he definitely, I don't want to say proved you wrong, but showed you he is that person that you always thought he was.
Exactly. I
And
gave him the
you gave
opportunity
him the
to be that
right,
guy.
Exactly.
And he is that guy.
Right.
And my other boss is that he is that guy.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, she is that gal.
Yep.
She's exactly who I thought she was, but didn't let her be. And I'm more vulnerable with her than anybody else.
Of course. Yes.
But now, it's just like making that decision in the moment. Are you going to be vulnerable? Because no matter how tough things are for me, I still work very diligently to keep the right mindset. Because it's like, it's like the water comes in on the beach and it goes so far. It doesn't stay there forever. It goes back a little bit. So it's like the waves kind of crash on that. And that's how life happens sometimes.
Right.
Just hard-hitting, relentless waves. And it's like, sometimes you just got to straighten yourself out when, you can kind of feel when you've got this crappy attitude going on, and you kind of try to step out of it and bring yourself back.
Right.
And it's those moments when you're stepping out of it that I'm kind of trying to share that part of me when I'm not at my best.
Uh-huh.
and it's been very well received. And the people that I'm sharing that with are taking really good care of that. But it's got to be with people that I really trust.
Right. Absolutely.
You don't know until you put it out there, what they're going to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it means more to me to grow as a person. I will risk the embarrassment. I will risk putting myself out there if it means I'm going to grow.
And that's what it's all about.
Maybe it's selfish in my part, but if there's no I don't know, upside, if there's no benefit, if there's no ability for me to become better, I just don't want to waste the resources there.
Right.
And I didn't want to waste the resources there before because I didn't know. I didn't know what I thought about asking for help. And you exposed it.
And it seems like the most simplest thing, but yet so many of us are so held back for just reaching out. And I think it never ceases to amaze me when you set yourself up like that the people will come through. Because you knew who to go to. Like, you know who to go to.
Yeah.
Like your gut, whatever you want to call it, your instinct, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. You know, and that will lead you and guide you.
Yeah.
And it never ceases to amaze me when you put yourself out there and you're really seeking something to grow and to learn from something. I just believe people come across your path.
Yeah.
And you just embrace it for what it is. And those are the moments that you take to trust yourself, to build trust, to let those walls down. Because a lot of us do have a lot of walls built up that we're not going to trust anybody with anything.
Yeah.
And then we just suffer in silence.
True. Suffer, I think one thing that I'm just realizing is, and maybe this is me to a fault, but I just don't think a lot of people say what they mean.
I definitely have to agree with that.
Because when and that's why I'm careful with my words, because when I say something, I just mean it.
Right.
And, it's like sometimes people come back and it's like, well, this. I said, I said this and I meant it. It's kind of weird that everybody else ain't doing that. I mean, everybody doesn't think like me. But when I say stuff, I just mean it.
I think so many people in life have been let down by people's words.
Yeah.
So when you hear someone say something and they follow through, a lot of times they don't even know how to respond to that because that's not the norm.
I was kind of getting that vibe from you. I don't know.
You're doing really well on this one.
I don't know if, do people just take your coaching and they just leave here and don't put it into practice and you keep having the same old conversation?
Yeah. I usually say it will be the same situation, just a different day, different year. Because there's not a willingness to change. Like, there's not a willingness to put an action towards what it is that I'm saying.
Got you.
Like, take value in what it is that I'm saying. Because what I'm saying to you, I'm meaning, like, there's meaning behind what I'm saying to you, and it's a key to your freedom.
And I took it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because even though, I was going to say this, even though work is in such an uproar, there's hope that there's help out there.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when you lose hope, you feel so discouraged and so overwhelmed and, devastated, and you don't know where to turn. And, I'm just grateful that we had that discussion a couple weeks ago, because who would have known this would have happened, the natural disaster? Who would have known that?
Right.
And it just prepares you a little bit more, that even though it may seem crazy, I haven't even talked to you about it, but, overwhelmed,
Yeah.
being thrown every which way, at least you have help.
I do.
So imagine going into all of this still feeling how you felt
Yeah.
a month ago. Where would you be?
Yeah.
So it is really important to apply what you hear, because you never know what's going to come down the road in a week, in a month, a couple months, a year, that wow, I was prepared for this.
Yeah. That's one of my life philosophies, get to getting,
Yep.
And I maybe you and I got to know each other a little better throughout these last few episodes. 'Cause this is the way I am. And I don't want to waste your time.
No, I know. And I'm trying to pull things from you
Gotcha.
to help the listener.
And I want to do that. And
You
I
know,
want you to challenge me when you feel like I'm not giving.
I think you did great.
Okay.
I think you did great.
If it feels like I'm not giving a deep enough answer, it's because I do spend a lot of time thinking about a lot of these things.
Right.
And
And you just don't want to throw something out there just because it's the right thing to do.
yeah. I have, in order to kind of be successful in here, and this is a weird thing. Okay. This is another weird thing about me. Okay. This is just weird. I'm just going to put it out there, but it's the truth. This is how goofy I am. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When Danielle comes to cut my hair, I want to be. This is so dumb. Okay.
I can't even imagine what you're going to say.
Here it comes, okay? I want that person to walk away thinking, he's the easiest haircut I do. He sits still. He moves his head at the right angle. He does exactly. I want to be that. And when PJ coached me, there's a drive in me to be the best student I can be. I think it only exemplifies the value of what somebody's investing in me. If I can be the best student you have, because I take the things like you or PJ or whomever that I'm willing to open my ears to, I take it, I just honor it so much.
Mm-hmm.
If there was somebody next to me on the elliptical machine, there is no way I would allow them to outwork me. I just wouldn't do it.
Right.
And I would get looks in the gym. I even caught PJ kind of looking like, what the heck is that guy doing? I just refuse to let somebody outwork me, because I wanted to prove to them they were better than they thought that they were. So whether it's you coaching me or me getting a haircut or loving my wife or whatever, as far as an employee, I want to leave those people with the idea that, gosh, that guy was coachable. He was
Right.
this, and that's just the way that I want to be. That guy, it's the easiest haircut I ever do.
That's funny.
Why does that matter to me? I don't know.
You're just weird that way.
I am just weird. I told you it was goofy, weird. I don't know. But when it comes to my boss, I want to give what he's taking me. When it comes to you, Rita, and you're giving me something, I want to represent the value of what you're giving me by taking it and doing something with it.
Right.
Because I have a lot of people that take the things I say and they don't do crap with it. They don't do anything. And it's just like, You come back and we're having the same conversation. You come back, and I used to take that personal, like it was my failure.
Right, right.
It was me failing because they weren't applying what I was saying. And I don't want to put anybody that I'm asking for help, I don't want to put anybody in that position to feel like they're wasting their time on me.
Right.
Because what you have to offer is too valuable.
Mm-hmm.
My time is too valuable. We don't need to waste each other's time.
Right, exactly.
I haven't always been that way, but it came to a point where I decided I want to change. I want to be a different person. I'm tired of being this person.
Mm-hmm.
And that, if that's not deep, I mean, that's just me down to the deep.
That's a great quality, because what you're saying is, I want to leave a mark on this earth.
I really do.
And I'm doing it intentionally every day, no matter who or what I'm faced with. I am definitely going to leave my mark. And that's character. That's integrity. That's, all the great attributes of what we all should seek after.
To listen to you say it, it sounds like a lot of work, but it just gives me life to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It feeds me to do that.
To contribute. You're a contributor.
It comes naturally to me to want to do it.
Right.
To sometimes so much to say, dude, really?
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, really. I want to be
Of service. Yeah.
I do. And it comes down to that thing of I want to enhance people's life and experience.
Mm-hmm.
So if you make me aware of something, I just want to go do it.
Right. Because it's not, because you do want to be a person of your word. And if that's something that's opposite of what it is that you're putting out there, then you're going to be quick to change it. You're going to be quick to make adjustments.
Yeah, because it just matters.
It matters,
to me.
right?
It matters. I hope you find more people to coach like me. That's I'm not
Oh
trying
my
to.
gosh, you'd be so easy.
I'm not trying to. I haven't always been this easy to coach, and I'm not trying to be braggadocious. But I think when you figure out how valuable people's time and effort is, you want to honor those people by doing. Even with my carnivore coach, and it kind of comes down to that, to say, if I don't do this, I'm just wasting his time.
Exactly.
So go find somebody else to coach that's going to do something. Don't waste people's time.
Right.
Honor people's time. People's time is valuable. You only get so much.
And you only get this one life. And
that's it.
And, you don't get a redo. You don't get...
No mulligan.
Nope. No mulligan on this one. And it really is, I think, just having that kind of mindset that life matters, time matters. I'm valued and I'm worth, and you just have a different perspective. It's just a different perspective that a lot of people just need to tap into. So I thank you for sharing and opening up and being honest and going deep and, just putting your thoughts out there. Great job, Quncy.
Thank you. I hope I helped you on that one.
You did.
Okay.
You totally did.
Okay.
Yep. And I hope the listener out there.
Because that's what it's, that's what it's about.
So what it's about. And that's my whole, of thinking of how can we make this relevant to the listener.
Yeah.
Because you and I, we can talk back and forth, but we can say a lot and mean nothing.
Yeah.
And I want to say a lot and have a lot of meaning to what it is that we're saying.
Right. And we do know each other well, I would say.
Yeah.
And I think you do take me at my word. But your concern is the people that are listening to it, if it doesn't sound, if it's not being put out to where they feel like they can do it, then maybe they just won't do it. And I don't want that. So I hope, being vulnerable and saying this is really
what it is.
This is really who I am. As weird as that may sound, I'm okay with that. That's why I told you about the whole haircut thing. I've never told anybody that, but it's really me. That's just me, and it's who I.
So if she's listening, then
Danielle, I
Yep,
want to
Danielle,
know,
if you're
am I the
listening.
easiest haircut you've
please
ever
tell
had?
him yes.
Because it matters. And if it's not, tell me. I want to improve. I want to.
Or you could tell me, Danielle.
Yeah, tell Rita.
Yeah,
And if and she'll coach me into how to be better at getting my haircut.
that's funny.
Thanks for having the courage to say that. Because I'd be compelled to help you. I have to help you. You're freaking Rita. You know what I'm saying? I got to help you.
Help me, help you.
Yeah, it's a Jerry Maguire thing. Help
Yep.
me, help you. Okay, well, Coach, I love you big time. I really
Right
do.
back at you.
I really do. I appreciate you very much. If you want to reach out to Coach, there's a way to do that.
Yes.
You and your microphone woes. I can't wait till this
We
thing
can get
is.
that thing, huh?
We can. I just don't get that thing before this goes to YouTube and we start doing videos, because you have really been having a time with that microphone the last few
It's
episodes.
I know. Okay, I won't touch it.
It's good. So yeah, you can reach out to Coach Rita. Don't be a sissy, bro. Put yourself out there. The more you do it, the easier it
really
becomes.
does.
And you got to do it with people you trust. So it's time to build that rapport with Coach Rita. It's coach at manvsmarriagepodcast.com. Coach at man, V like victory, S like success, marriagepodcast.com. And come and join us on Facebook. Maybe putting yourself out there like I do, like Coach Rita does, maybe, just maybe, it'll inspire somebody else to think, why not me? And that's the reason I'm doing it. That's the reason I'm putting myself out there. Because in my crazy life and the way that I think, if it can inspire you to get that much better, you will thank me for it someday, I'm sure. And your wife and your kids, hopefully they can look at you and say, I'm so glad you changed. It's just one choice away. That's it. Until next time, it's me, the Q Dog,
Coach Rita,
and we'll say good night now.
good night.
The podcast.
How good do you want your life to be?
It's truly about becoming the best version of yourself that's possible.
This is Man vs. Marriage.
The podcast.